Welcome, everyone, to What to Watch Live, the show where we discuss the best in TV and entertainment this week. My name is David. I'm back, and this week I am joined by my fellow Xfinity editors, Rose and Audrey. Hello.
Hi. How's it feel to be back? Are you so excited?
Great. I'm feeling so rested and just ready to do the thing, as they say.
All right.
Someone says that. And hello to everyone out there. Thank you for joining us across all Xfinity platforms or on the 24/7 What to Watch channel on Zumo. We're so happy you joined us. And on today's show, we will return to Middle Earth for a sneak peek at my interview with the cast of Prime Video's new series, The Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power. We'll reveal which show topped my list of the 100 greatest fantasy series of all time. We'll explore some of the ways you can enjoy football season on Xfinity platforms. We'll say farewell to beach season with our picks for the celebrities of the summer. And of course, we'll help you organize your TV watch list for the week ahead. But before we kick things off, a few weeks ago, Adult Swim invited several of us to check out the Adult Swim Festival here in Philadelphia. The event featured 3 days of live music, stand-up comedy, and Q&As with the stars of Adult Swim series like Rick and Morty, Aqua Teen Hunger Force, and Smiling Friends. So I packed into my Nissan Versa with Scott and Quam, who you all know and love here from What to Watch Live, and we headed to North Philly to enjoy the festivities. You're seeing some of these photos. You might have caught the Pickle Rick Frosty from Wendy's, which was actually like a pickle-flavored Frosty with fried pickles on top. Better than you'd expect. Obviously, it was a super cool event, as you can see from these photos. There's Hannibal Buress. He actually rapped. He's got like a Childish Gambino alter ego called Eshu Toon. So he performed, and it was actually really good. And this is Run the Jewels, and it was a packed crowd for that. Like, people came out in droves to check out all these performances. But one of the things we were most... Do you have something, Audrey? Go ahead.
It's so dumb.
Go for it.
When you said his name, it just sounds like a sneeze, like Eshu-tun. That's all I kept thinking of. That's how I sneeze.
Well, not a sneeze, but I was like, what are you saying?
Eshu-tun. I know, it's weird. People expected, like, oh, was it like funny, like comedy rapping? And I'm like, some of his lyrics were funny, but it was like real music. And it was pretty good. He even did like a song. He had a random song about bowling. And it just so happened that he performed at Brooklyn Bowl, which is a bowling alley in North Philly. And he then bowled while he was singing his song about bowling, which was unexpected.
How did he do that? Did he have a mic? And then
he had a mic and he was just bowling with the other hand. And clearly security was not expecting him to do that because they were panicked that he had walked into the crowd. But it was like, nobody's attacking Hannibal Buress. Like, and then, yes, of course, Run the Jewels had a massive crowd. And there was so much to do around the venues that hosted the Adult Swim Festival. But one of the things Scott and I were most excited to try out was the human claw machine. And we have a little video of how that went. So check it out.
This troll's no myth. He is a breathing entity banished from this world hundreds of years ago. It took a magnificent force to wake him. Deathlock is more powerful than we'd expected. You should take to that parade. You were to the silent. Gentlemen! We contained all footage of this troll. The rest not know about it. Even then say that would.
Yes.
David.
My God.
I'm disappointed that you didn't like use all of your appendages to like grab everything. Was there a limit or something on there? Like I would have been in the fatal position to get everything.
There was a dude who grabbed a box with his feet, and he had one in his hands and one in his feet, and they made him drop the one in his feet, which, you know, I think you should, like a claw machine, be able to grab as many as you can. But
exactly.
This is what I actually got in my box. It's a little wacky inflatable tube man, Mr. Meeseeks. I was going to plug him in, but I have no free outlets because of all the lights in here. But it was super cool, and that harness was extremely painful. Like, you don't realize, like, I didn't realize what it would feel like to have all those straps cutting into my fatty body when all my weight is just pushed downwards and they're just like cutting into my stomach. It sucked, but a lot of fun. It's, you know, when do you get to be a human claw machine?
Yeah, well, it didn't look uncomfortable. I really liked the shimmy out of the harness. It looked very like graceful.
Thank you.
Not uncomfortable at all. Yeah.
But it was a really cool event. One of my favorite parts of the whole weekend was the Rick and Morty panel, which featured a Q&A with star Spencer Grammer and writer-producer Nick Rutherford. And we also got to watch the season 6 premiere, which doesn't debut until this Sunday, September 4th. It was very, very funny. I hear Ricky.
My dog's barking. Just ignore her. He'll be done soon.
Must be a fan of Rick and Morty.
Yeah, Ricky and Morty.
Oh, yes.
There it is. And it was one of my favorite Rick and Morty episodes in a while. So check that out. Thank you to Adult Swim for having us. And now let's kick off the show with a return of the precious in a segment called Hangouts. The Lord of the Rings is back, and this time it's a brand new TV series premiering September 2nd on Prime Video. Entitled The Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power, the show is based on the iconic work of J.R.R. Tolkien and is set during the Second Age of Middle-earth, thousands of years before the events of both The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings. The story will chronicle the forging of the famed Rings of Power, as well as an alliance between elves and men in the face of a powerful villain called Sauron. I recently sat down to interview 18 stars from the new series. It's a big cast. And I talked to the stars, including Charles Edwards, Megan Richards, Nazanin Baniati, and Lloyd Owen. And we talked about the new show, and we complimented each other's hair. Just an average day at the office. So here's a sneak peek at my upcoming episode of Xfinity Hangouts.
The skies are strange.
Charles, first of all, I want to say that I assumed that your character's hair was a wig, but you have just as beautiful a head of hair as your character does in the show.
I've been admiring it.
Thank you very much for saying so.
welcome.
It's not a wig, and it is this length now because I've been told I have to keep growing it.
Wow.
I think this is, looking at your hair, I think this is people just loving each other about the fact that it's all got nice hair, right?
I was really just fishing for compliments, so thank you.
You got it.
Gorgeous, gorgeous.
You got it.
But no, Charles, your character is an elven blacksmith, which is kind of a rare trade these days to be a blacksmith. And it made me wonder if you have a rare or unusual skill or talent that not many people know about.
Well, I do actually. That has served me well on this show. I love calligraphy and working with a pen and Indian ink and black and white. I do cartoons. I love to do lettering and just so happens that we will see Celebrimbor making some notes.
That's amazing.
So I will have the opportunity to and some often on set they go, no, we'll get the guy in, the actual professional guy to come and do it for you. I'm going to be going, no, I want to do this.
Yeah.
They'll get the guy in the end, of course, because I'll screw it up. But you know, at least I'll be
In the moment, it's you. Yeah.
So like Celebrimbor is his character. I've spent like most of the last several days trying to figure out how to say all the names of these characters, and it became a running thing in the interview where it was like, can you tell me how to say the name of these characters and also your name? Like there's a lot of very interesting names. But go ahead. Yeah.
I was going to say that I love that they complimented your hair, because I was going to ask if you didn't like that helmet smushing down your beautiful cloth.
It wasn't as big a deal for me as it was for Scott. There should be no surprise there. He was very concerned about his helmet hair. But I was lucky enough to be able to watch the first 2 episodes of the show. And one of the things that I truly loved about it was how visually beautiful it was. I mean, and it should be. It's the most expensive TV series ever made. Over like 5 seasons, I think it's going to cost $1 billion to make. But part of that is due to the fact that there are so many sets and costumes and makeup in the show that is all practical, not computer generated, hand created. The orcs are all real prosthetics. And Megan Richards, who was there on the screen in the white, she plays a character that is a Harfoot, sort of a Hobbit-like character. And she told me about meeting the tree guy on the show. They shot in New Zealand, and apparently they had this man and one other person who hand-built 100 trees to create a forest within the forest. They found like a clearing in the forest, then built additional trees.
Wait, excuse me. Sorry.
Wait, what's his name? Like, Tissue.
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 Oh my God. That's never happened. No one's ever sneezed on What to Watch Live before. It's a first.
Yay, Rose.
So
wait, David, does one person have to know about the 3 movies before should we watch the movies before watching the series?
So no, it's a prequel. But one thing I learned that I did not know, because it's set 1,000 years before the events, I was like, oh, there won't be any crossover. Turns out the elves are like basically immortal. So there are characters in the movie, like Cate Blanchett's character in the movie, Hugo Weaving's character, they're elves. So younger versions of their characters are in this series. There's a few others too. So it does help, because you know, I think you appreciate it more because you're like, oh, those are these characters that I knew from the movies. But you don't have to. And I think it also helps to know the books. Like, Tolkien fans are going to love this series for sure. But I wanted to mention like one other interesting detail that Megan told me about on the costumes. Apparently the Harfoot characters each have apple seeds individually hand sewn onto their costume, and each apple seed represents a Harfoot that passed away during previous migrations. So you see the elder characters that have many apple seeds representing all their passed away brethren, while younger generations just have a few apple seeds. And I think that's like one of the really cool things in terms of the attention to detail. It's such a massive, large show, but they really made an effort to make all the little things pop.
So cool.
Spending that $1 billion well.
I have to admit, I've never seen Lord of the Rings. I know there's like a Bo Baggins guy, some rings involved.
Bo Baggins!
And that famous shot of the guy falling backwards trying to reach for a ring.
That's Gandalf. Yeah.
That guy.
Some of it, yeah. Old man falling, Bo Baggins.
That's all you need.
You got it. Well, if you want to catch up on all of the Lord of the Rings, you can just say Lord of the Rings into your voice remote. Our movies team has laid out every single movie, all the Hobbit movies, as well as previous adaptations of Tolkien's work. Say Lord of the Rings into your voice remote and watch The Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power, Prime Video, September 2nd. Very exciting. Next up, it's just a sweet, sweet fantasy baby in this week's featured collection. Between HBO Max's House of the Dragon and Prime Video's The Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power, it's an unprecedented time for the fantasy genre on television, and we thought there was no better way to celebrate than to curate a list of the 100 greatest fantasy shows of all time, and you can watch every last one of them right now with Xfinity. Just say best fantasy shows ever into your voice remote, and you'll find my personally curated, I curated it with these two hands, countdown of the 100 essential fantasy series, from classics like Fantasy Island and Bewitched to shows you don't necessarily think of as traditional fantasy, such as The Good Place or The Ghost Whisperer or The Good Witch. But what I did was, oh no, that's not what I want to say, but what did I choose at the top as the top 10 greatest fantasy shows of all time? I'm losing it. Let's take a look at my top 10. Audrey Rose, please give me your feedback. We'll start with number 10, Supernatural. The show follows two brothers who hunt demons and ghosts and monsters. 15 seasons, 327 episodes. People who love Supernatural really love Supernatural. Do you love Supernatural?
I'm not one of those people. I've never seen Supernatural, if I'm being
That's a
honest.
good episode. It could have been, yeah. I mean, but I got really excited when you mentioned The Good Place because I wanted to talk about that. I know that was on the essentials list. And if anything, I feel like you've ranked, like, Supernatural can be lower on the list and The Good Place could like move up and take Supernatural's place.
I wish I could tell you I remember where I put The Good Place.
28.
It's up there.
28.
Oh, okay.
What do you mean, oh, okay?
It's decent.
No, higher. It should have been higher on that
I think that's
list.
correct.
I mean, we could talk about that for a while, but we need to move on. So, I mean,
We do.
Audrey, it sounds like we're indifferent about number 10.
Yeah.
9 is True Blood. Based on the Sookie Stackhouse novels by Charlaine Harris, the show is set in Louisiana at a time when synthetic blood called True Blood has made it possible for vampires to live out in the open, and it's just so good.
So I love True Blood so much. Watched it as a diehard fan, like every Sunday night. We've talked about this a lot, David and I and a bunch of other coworkers and friends, that like this was of the era where it was like it was Sunday night, you had to be home, you had to watch it, like, and you know, the good old days. Vampire Eric, Vampire Bill. It was all so good. And
True Blood, I think of him saying "Sookie."
Sookie.
Yeah. It was also one of the last, like, we've talked about this too, like a quintessential summer show. It came around every summer, summers on Sunday nights. It was kind of, I guess, what Game of Thrones ended up being, but it just like steamy, bon ton, Louisiana. It's hot outside. It's hot in all the vampire bedrooms. I don't know.
I don't disagree with
In
your
the coffins
ranking here, though.
Yeah. Number 8, Avatar: The Last Airbender. Again, people who love an Airbender are so dedicated to this series. It only aired 3 seasons on Nickelodeon, but it still remains popular and spawned The Legend of Korra, as well as comic books, novels, live action movie. A live action movie which our friend and colleague Scott actually appeared in. He died 3 times in the movie. I don't watch this either. Rose, does your son happen to watch Airbender?
No, he watches a lot of Pokemon, and I know that's on the list too, but it's also ranked not as high.
Oh.
And with Airbender, you know, I know you said 3 seasons. I agree with the high ranking, but maybe not this high. I agree with the high ranking because of the fan base, but I feel like Pokemon should have been higher than what you ranked it. I can't remember what it was, but because there are thousands of episodes, and I think along with Airbender, there are, no matter what age you are, there are fans, but there's still so much to continue to consume. Where with Airbender, there's like only 3 seasons, but that's more of a quantity issue.
Yeah.
Quality wise, I mean, with the diehard fans, maybe I rescind my disagreement.
The other thing
either way, they're on the list and they're in like, I think the top 20, 25. So yeah, okay. Those are my thoughts.
It's so hard though. Like as we're talking about this and you're mentioning shows, I'm like, oh, I guess that is fantasy. Like dialing down, like what is actually considered fantasy, and then within that pool, ranking them is really hard because like I wouldn't think Good Place like fantasy off the bat, but then when you think about it, you're like, sure it is. So I don't envy you, David, because this is really a struggle to do.
That was the hardest part. Honestly, the hardest part was deciphering what's fantasy and what's sci-fi because there's so much crossover. Like, I think some people, if you look at this list and you're like, where is Star Trek? Like, where is anything Star Wars related? Like, those are in the essential sci-fi collection. Just say best sci-fi shows ever. So I tried not to do any overlap. There's just things that you just think of and they are quintessential sci-fi, and I tried to leave those off this list. There's a few that pop in there that are borderline, but it's so hard. Want to keep moving. 7? The Magicians. This show aired for 5 seasons on Sci-Fi, follows a group of beautiful 20-somethings studying to be magicians at Brakebills University for Magical Pedagogy. Pedagogy? I don't know.
All right.
Yeah. I didn't watch this, but I know it also has a very loyal fan base. And 6, speaking of Scott, perhaps his favorite show of all time. We've mentioned Scott a lot on this show. Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Sarah Michelle Gellar, of course, played the now iconic Slayer from 1997 to 2003. The series was based on the 1992 film of the same name and ran for 7 seasons and 144 episodes. I know people who still binge Buffy as like their comfort background noise show, the way I watch Seinfeld or Simpsons. To each his own, or her own, or their own. I do want to mention quickly Supernatural every single season on Netflix, True Blood every season on HBO Max, Avatar every season on Netflix, Magicians every season on Netflix, and Buffy every season on Hulu. 5, Lost, a series that elicits both cheers and groans from almost anyone who ever watched it. The show follows a group of plane crash survivors on an island somewhere in the South Pacific Ocean. The show ran for 6 seasons and 121 episodes and has one of the most controversial series finales of all time. Audrey, did we just recently talk about this?
We did. Over some beverages. And I just don't want to hear it anymore. It was a great show. The ending was whatever. It wasn't that bad. Like, I don't know. I love Lost. I think it was like very ahead of its time, and I have nothing else to say.
Would you rank it as high as David did?
I would. It was like, if you think about it, when it came out, like smoke monsters and like giant polar bears on an island, like it was different than a lot of things that we were used to seeing. So based on like innovation alone, I think it deserves a high spot, regardless of whether or not you loved or hated the ending.
It was a cultural phenomenon. I mean, when you have those shows where the like finale of a show and how it's going to end becomes so big that like regular news is reporting about it, like tonight's the big, what's going to happen? What kind of answers? Like, then I think it crosses over to like cultural phenomenon era or status, I should say. Lost every season on Hulu and Freevee. So if you have that, you can check it out. Number 4, The Witcher. The Witcher came along at a time when we all desperately needed to cleanse our palates after the Game of Thrones series finale. The Witcher is based on a book series of the same name. There's also several very popular video games, and it follows a monster hunter played by Henry Cavill. It really just has, in my opinion, everything you want in a fantasy series. It really was like replacement Game of Thrones, and I think it's fantastic.
Should have just been called Replacement Game of Thrones.
Replacement Game of Thrones. Yes.
Maybe I would have watched it, but I didn't.
I was trying to make some sort of This Is Us joke, and I couldn't come up with it. So whatever. Stranger Things, number 3. I mean, what can we say that hasn't already been said? A government lab accidentally creates a portal to an alternate dimension, unleashing creatures on this small town called Hawkins, Indiana, and the only person who can stop them is a psychokinetic girl named Eleven. The 4th season premiered earlier this summer and single-handedly resurrected Kate Bush's career. I mean, that is influential TV right there, and well worth the 3rd place on the list. 2, Outlander. Based on the novel series of the same name, this sexy melodrama follows a World War II military nurse who accidentally time travels to 1743, as you do, where she falls in love with a Scottish warrior. Thus far, the show has aired 6 seasons and 75 episodes, and earlier this year, Variety reported that a prequel series is in the works. And to prove that I tried to be as objective as possible with this whole list and this ranking, I'll say that I can't stand Outlander. I don't enjoy it at all. But I still put it as number 2 because it's
moms everywhere. Thank you for that.
I know it's very popular. People love it. I feel like every episode is 3 hours long and there's 30 episodes a season. I can't do it, but I'm in the minority there. You tried to watch it, right, Audrey? Or you did for a while?
I did try. Yeah, it would just, on the surface, it seems like it would be up my alley because it's like Virgin River mixed with period drama, mixed with like time travel. Like all of these things appeal to me. But I don't know if it was just like the time I watched it. It didn't really do it for me, but I know my mom and all of her friends love.
Did you mention that it was based like on a very popular book series?
It was, yeah.
Yeah. I tried watching it too. I just couldn't get into it. It was really slow for me, but I guess, you know, with the fan base I mean, I really can't argue. I would put Stranger Things higher.
I don't know. Number 1, without a doubt, is there's no argument. Number 1, HBO Max's Game of Thrones. Without a doubt, one of the most iconic and popular series in television history. Game of Thrones earned 59 Primetime Emmy Awards, the most of any drama series in history, and it became a cultural phenomenon during its 8-season run from 2011 to 2019. And sure, the final season and the series finale were almost universally despised, but does that really undo the characters and moments that drew in nearly 14 million viewers in the United States alone? I don't think so, and that's why I picked it as the single most essential fantasy series of all time. Rose?
I already said it.
Yeah, we're talking about Stranger Things now.
Burn! I will say, we just rewatched the second to the last in the last season in anticipation of getting caught up, and it wasn't as bad as I remember it. So like, it actually makes me wonder, like stepping back, like if other people watched it again, and I'm sure tons of people are doing the same thing and rewatching it now. I think we were just all so invested and so like waiting to see what happened that nothing maybe would have been exactly what everyone wanted. But I think if everyone watches it again, you will not be as rage-filled as you maybe were when you watched it in real time.
Probably, yeah. Without the expectations, maybe you can just enjoy it for what it is and what it was. But go ahead, Rose.
But
a tough critic today. You can check out the full countdown on X1 and Flex. Like, did I get it right? Did I miss something? Don't at me. It is what it is. And right now, you can just say best fantasy shows ever into your voice remote to check it out. Next up, we didn't come here to look for trouble. We just came to do the Super Bowl shuffle and a segment called Ultimate Deep Dive. We are less than 2 weeks away from kicking off both the college and NFL 2022 regular seasons. And Rose is going to tell us how you can enjoy all the gridiron action across Xfinity platforms. Rose, what do you got for us?
So, for all of you football fans, I'm here to let you know and bring confidence to you that you will never miss a night of football from college to NFL. You just say football into your voice remote, and we have it all here for you. NFL, we've got that. Looking for every play within 20 yards of the end zone, also known as red zone, we got that. And college football, we have that too. You can watch all the games with your favorite apps on Xfinity from Thursday night to Sunday night. It's all here from Prime, ESPN Plus, Peacock, Paramount Plus. It's all here. Sunday night, Sunday day, Thursday night. You won't miss it with Xfinity and all your favorite apps. And here's a fun fact, and I actually do this too. Did you know that you can favorite your team? So this way, if you have tons of teams or maybe just one, doesn't matter, you favorite it, you heart it, and this way you can get up-to-date information from highlights and the latest news, and it'll give you like little alerts. It's really fun. You go to the sports page and then it's right there. Your favorite teams are like curated for you because you favored it with your remote. I also want to talk about college football because around this time, college football is starting. And let's do a college fit check. College fit check for all you TikTokers out there. Rings from McGarry's from my husband, necklace from Amazon, this from Madewell, this from Virginia Tech. What? Go Hokies. Go Hokies, go. Okay, so I favorited my college team, Virginia Tech, and I have to say, in my opinion, one of the most epic college football entrances of all time. So yes, you want to look for football, you're looking for it, you just say football into your remote, and we have it here. So there you got it. David, Audrey, have you favorited a team? Do you have any epic college football entrances you two want to talk about or have? What you got?
What is football?
Stop it. Stop it.
I have.
You have something real to say.
I do. I have my Philadelphia Eagles favorited, so I'm alerted every time a game starts. Not that I ever forget, but like sometimes like I'm watching Red Zone or something, waiting for the game to start, and it pops up and it alerts me and lets me know that the game is starting, which is very helpful. And I have Penn State favorited as well. And I was actually, as you were talking, I was like, do I go and pull down my diploma off the wall, the most expensive thing I've ever bought? But I actually do. I'm literally pulling this off the wall right now.
Let me see it.
Is my little Nittany Lion.
Nittany Lion.
Nittany Lion. David, we've got a tie-in because I want to say our new head football coach from Virginia Tech used to be a football coach at Penn State, I think.
Oh,
Brent Pry.
Oh, I don't know him, but I did go to Penn State, and one of the most iconic sites. Speaking of like entrances, one of the most iconic sites in college football is the whiteout at Beaver Stadium in State College, Pennsylvania. Every single person in the entire Seating Bowl is wearing white T-shirts. It's not necessarily unique to sports. They do a lot of that, but they're waving white pom-poms and the team runs onto the field and the Nittany Lions out there leading with the flags. It's like one of those great things that you like really have to experience in person. I feel lucky that I've been able to attend several whiteout games over the year, but I paid them for it. So I'm still paying them for it. So I should still get invited with, that's another story. But yeah, I love college football. It's very exciting. I'm so excited that the football season's back. Anything else before we close this one up?
No, I think, just remember to say football. Every football night of the week from Thursday night to Sunday night, we've got it covered. Don't forget.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be a football night to say it. You can just say it right now. You can say it at 3 a.m, football, into your remote, X1 Flex. All the sports fun. And next up, which celebrities are having the best summer ever? We'll tell you who has us impressed and obsessed. Labor Day is upon us, and with it comes the official end of summer. So we decided to scour this seemingly endless list of summer entertainment to find the celebrities who made the most of the last 3 months. Audrey, kick us off. Who is your star of the summer?
Oh, guys, wait for it, because you're going to say, who? And I'll explain who he is. Tim Heidecker. Okay, so hopefully you know who he is. If you don't, I'm going to give you a little education. Okay. So Tim Heidecker is a comedian, a writer, a director, an actor, and a musician, which is what I will ultimately talk about. But he's best probably known as one half of the comedy duo Tim and Eric from their Adult Swim show. He is from Allentown, Pennsylvania. He went to Temple University, very much like me. I did not talk about football, but that will be my football team. And an owl is the mascot, and that's really all of the knowledge I have. But throughout all of this, Tim Heidecker has had some amazing roles. He played a basketball on Aqua Teen Hunger Force, a wine taster in 2006's Let's Go to Prison with my love, Dax Shepard. He starred as Tex in Jordan Peele's Us, and he played Doug on everyone's favorite Our Flag Means Death. That's like a short, very funny list, but he's been in tons of stuff. He may be the guy you haven't noticed, but you should, because he's hilarious. But the thing that I want to talk about after all that rambling is his 6th studio album called High School. So in his spare time, which I don't know how you have any, he also is like an indie rock musician. And this new album I've been listening to all summer. It came out June 24th, I want to say. And it's really a look back at his high school years, as you would think, since it's called High School. And I just love it. I love slow folky rock. The lyrics are very funny. He talks about things like waterbeds and things that will just remind you of high school in the 90s. And it's just very catchy. It's a fun summer album. And I just, wanted to give him a proper shout out because, like I said, he's been in a lot of amazing things. He also directed the Terry Crews Old Spice commercials, if you remember those. So an impressive resume. So maybe not the star of summer you were thinking you would hear about, but just wanted to give Tim Heidecker some love, especially since he's somewhat, I'm in Philadelphia, somewhat local. Kurt Vile, if you're also a Philadelphia music fan, has a song on this album with him that is amazing called Sirens of Titan. So if you haven't heard Tim Heidecker's High School, give it a listen. You can say Tim Heidecker into your voice remote on X1. I've added the whole album playlist so you can listen to it very easily from his page, as well as watching all of the TV and movies he's appeared in.
I did not expect you to pick this. I did, and I know Tim, not personally, I know his work, but I didn't know he had one album, let alone 6. So this is really surprising to me. I can't even comprehend what his music would sound like. I
how
can't
would
even
you
think.
describe his music in 3 words?
It's soft, rocky folk. It's a little bit, okay, so what was Jack Black's band called?
Tenacious D.
Tenacious D, right. So it's funny because, right, he's a comedian, he's a funny guy. So the lyrics are funny and quirky, but very poignant and real life. So it has a touch of Tenacious D-ness, but if it were a singer-songwriter, folk rock.
It's very much like Eshu Tune.
Eshu Tune. So yes, I'm glad you appreciate my random pick. It deserves a listen by everyone. David, what is your pick?
Yeah, I think my pick might be kind of random too, just because she's so unknown right now. But you may have seen 25-year-old actress Amber Midthunder, coolest name ever, as Carrie Loudermilk in the FX series Legion, or in her current role as Rosa Orteco in the CW's Roswell, New Mexico. But her star power absolutely exploded just a few weeks ago with the release of her new movie Prey on Hulu. If you're not familiar with Prey, it's a prequel to the 1987 Arnold Schwarzenegger sci-fi action classic Predator, and it follows the titular humanoid alien as it arrives in the northern Great Plains of North America in 1719. But that was a big mistake for the Predator, who comes face to face with a kick-ass Comanche warrior named Naru, who takes up the task of protecting her tribe from the ruthless outer space killer. Firstly, the movie is just excellent. Like I never saw it coming. It's equal parts sci-fi action with a little bit of like horror and jump scares, but it's beautifully shot with this backdrop of the Great Plains that almost gives it like this Western feel, which is very unexpected. It's a real genre mashup, in my opinion. But I also love the film's cast is comprised almost entirely of First Nation and Native American actors. And Amber Midthunder is Native American and a member of the Fort Peck Sioux tribes in Montana. Her father, David Midthunder, has been acting since the 80s, and he's appeared in Longmire, Westworld, 1883, and recently in Dark Winds, which a bunch of us really enjoyed. But Amber really is the heart and soul of Prey. Her character is such a badass, and she plays the role with such beautiful expression and ferocity. And there were times where I couldn't believe I was actually watching a real person on the screen. Like it felt like I was watching something out of a video game cutscene. I don't know how to explain it, honestly. But she's just really excellent and exciting to watch. And I honestly think it's just a matter of time before she's cast in some Marvel or Star Wars movie, because she's just been such a huge hit with people who have seen the movie. And I think she's going to be a massive star in the next couple years.
All right, one to watch. I actually haven't
Sold.
heard of either. So thanks for introducing me to who you're impressed and obsessed.
Yeah, I don't think people think like, oh, Predator, oh, that's that 80s movie, action movie, alien type thing, and think maybe they won't be into it. But somehow this is so much more than Predator, even though it's really what it's about. Like her character was like trained and raised to be like a healer, but she really wants to be a hunter and provide for her tribe, but she's being like held down by the men who are like, the men do the hunting and you're a healer, and she wants to prove herself. And so she takes on the task of like taking out this like crazy killer and bounty hunter, basically. Great story, again, just so beautifully filmed. And it's done by the director of 10 Cloverfield Lane, which is like the Cloverfield prequel or sequel. So good. Anyway, Amber Midthunder, so freaking cool. And I can't wait for more. Rose, who is your star of the summer?
My star this summer, maybe you've heard of him though. He's been around for a little bit, but he's having a really big moment. It's Austin Butler. Huge summer. So he's graduated from like Zoe 101 and the Carrie Diaries, but he really made his mark with playing Elvis in Baz Luhrmann's Elvis, and very well deserved, I might add. And I actually hate to say this because there's been so many stories about Elvis, about his life, his music, his career. This one is told from sort of the view of his manager, who Tom Hanks plays, which is the Colonel. There was new information that I didn't realize. I don't want to spoil it for you, but I hate to say this, is that even though Tom Hanks is in the movie, who I think is one of the few amazing actors of our time right now, like big movie stars, but Austin Butler and his performance in this really outshines Tom Hanks's performance. And why I think people have noticed, and that's why he's creating and generating all of this buzz because of it. He's so magnetic, and I feel that he carries this entire movie. I mean, even with Tom Hanks in it, right? The way he manipulates his voice in every stage of Elvis's life, from when he's just starting out, when he's at his peak, to when he's, not looking so hot, but still singing those amazing tunes with those voice. Like it's great, the transformation to see his movements. I mean, Elvis is such a larger than life character, and people know his mannerisms because, there are some people who are obsessed, not only impressed, but obsessed with Elvis, and he nails them perfectly. And for anyone stepping into trying to portray Elvis's shoes, he does an incredible, outstanding, whatever adjective that's really up there, job, insert there. That's what he does. And he's also got something coming up next year with, I think it's a prequel or a follow-up to Band of Brothers. So, I mean, if he's riding this wave, somebody has definitely noticed when he's working on Baz Luhrmann's film that he needs to be in another thing that's epic. So really, if you don't know who he is, hopefully I'm telling you about him now. Be on the lookout for him. And for all you Baz Luhrmann fans, I mean, I love the movie. If you're a fan of Baz Luhrmann, there's like lots of frenetic cuts, movements, different boxes that you have to see, you know, pans in and out, these really creative angles. In the beginning, it's very Baz Luhrmann-y, but then it gets to the story near to the middle to the end. So if your brain can't handle all of the craziness, stick with it and it'll calm down and really get to the heart of it all. So there's Baz Luhrmann in it, and then there's an actual movie in it too.
You should mention what Baz Luhrmann has actually directed otherwise.
Say that again?
You should mention what Baz Luhrmann has directed otherwise.
You're so good. Yes, Moulin Rouge, Romeo and Juliet.
Great Gatsby.
Great Gatsby, yes. It very much has his DNA all over it, especially in the beginning. But if you're not a Baz Luhrmann quick cut creative type fan, stick with it. He calms down a little bit in the end, and you really get to the heart of Elvis. So Austin Butler, have you guys seen it or heard of it or heard of Austin?
I've heard of him through this movie, and I haven't watched it yet, but now it's definitely like climbing back to the top of my watch list, because just like better than Tom Hanks, signed Rose is really like an amazing accolade.
Yes, definitely be on the lookout for his performance. You can rent or own it today, Audrey, but on September 2nd, you can watch it on HBO Max.
Nice, and I'm going to do
Hot
that.
tip.
Yeah. Check out all the stars and all the projects we talked about by saying what to watch into your voice remote. And before we head out for the week, as always, we're here to help you organize your TV watch list with Plan Ahead. This week's premieres include a chilling docuseries, another weird Netflix dating show, and the return of the smartest man in the universe and his Morty. Rose, tell us all about it.
I first noticed Steve Carell as a correspondent on The Daily Show. Then he really won my heart in The Office. For those who know him for his comedy, I hope you get to experience how talented he is and watch him portray a more dramatic character in this dark, psychological thriller. In The Patient, Steve plays Alan, a therapist who's held prisoner by his deeply disturbed patient Sam, who reveals himself to be a serial killer. Watch The Patient on Hulu, August 30th. This next show is a bit lighter in genre, so let's talk about the reality dating genre. Netflix has brought us Love is Blind, The Ultimatum, and Too Hot to Handle. Now get ready for what they dub the most awkward dating show in history. And frankly, I have to agree. Can you imagine passionately kissing your date next to your brother, sister, or cousin? Dated and Related follows relatives who are trying to find love or sabotage their relatives' love life, all in a luxury villa in the south of France. Watch all the awkwardness on Netflix September 2nd. 13-year-old Ella has a new outlook on life. After a life-changing experience battling cancer, Ella learns to embrace her fears and live each day as it comes. Through this new outlook on life, she encourages those around her to do the same. This show is a reminder for us to not let our adversities define us, but allow it to propel us forward into the person we were always meant to be. Life by Ella premieres on Apple TV Plus September 2nd. This next show is going to have a lot of people excited, and here are 3 reasons why you should be excited about the 6th season of Rick and Morty. 1. The writing. It's both hilarious and existential. 2. Its themes can be both philosophical and absurd, which to me reads as a fun thought journey where you can truly just enjoy the ride. Sounds good to me. And 3. As I mentioned earlier, so many people are excited. And with a huge fan base, why not watch to get that shared experience and start talking about it afterwards? So there you have it. 3 reasons for Rick and Morty on Adult Swim, September 4th.
I love that, Rose. That was great. That was really good. And of course, don't miss The Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power on Prime Video, Friday, September 2nd. If you missed us talking about it earlier in the show, make sure you check out the replay of What to Watch Live. You can do that. Just say What to Watch Live. You'll find it. And in this week's finales, we leave the resort, we say farewell to Roswell, and do the dishes with Selena and Chef. Audrey, give us the rundown.
Our very own Scott has been watching and loving Peacock's The Resort. And really, what's not to love about an exotic murder mystery with super talented and captivating cast in Christina Milioti and William Jackson Harper? Throughout the season, there have been suspects, secrets, and clues galore. Here's hoping we get all the puzzle pieces to make for a satisfying ending when The Resort finales Thursday, September 1st on Peacock. Selena Gomez has had herself quite a summer. Between cornering a criminal mastermind in Hulu's Only Murders in the Building and brushing up on her culinary schools with the help of famous faces on HBO Max's Selena and Chef, Miss Gomez has proved to be a rare talent. Get it? That's the name of her 2020 album. Anyway, why search the internet for recipes when you can binge season 4 of Selena and Chef? It's basically like attending celebrity culinary school. Selena and Chef finales Thursday, September 1st on HBO Max. If you haven't heard about Sophia's quest to piece her life back together on Apple TV's newest thriller, Surface, you must have been living under the surface. Through all the twists and turns and a shocking love triangle, will we have it all figured out by the end? You'll just have to wait and see. Surface finales Friday, September 2nd on Apple TV+. Now, when I say Roswell, I'm sure the first thing that comes to mind is aliens. In the CW science fiction drama Roswell, New Mexico, they certainly deliver with a secret alien boyfriend. But what other mysteries will be solved when the season wraps? Will it be a cliffhanger? Or will more secrets lie ahead for Liz, Max, Rosa, and Michael? Roswell, New Mexico finales Monday, September 5th on the CW. It just dawned on me how confusing it must get for Jamie Foxx to work for Fox. Anyway, Jamie and his daughter will attempt to stump one last group of contestants by dangling a few notes of popular songs in front of them while a clock ticks away in the background. Will they correctly identify some of the greatest hits of all time, or will they be sent packing without any money? Find out when Beat Shazam finales Monday, September 5th on Fox.
All the jokes. Audrey, did you have a glass of wine before you recorded that one?
I did not, but you know what? That actually sounds like a great idea, and maybe I'll test that for the next one, and we can see if we notice a difference.
Love that. And that will do it for today's show. Thank you to my fellow Xfinity editors, Rose and Audrey, for joining me this week. Thank you to the cast of Prime Video's The Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power, which premieres September 2nd. Shout out to our producers, Brad, Aaron, and everyone else behind the scenes for making the show run smoothly. We cannot do it without you. We're taking a couple weeks off for the Labor Day holiday, but we will return with a new show on Monday, September 19th. In the meantime, if you want to check out the TV shows and movies we talked about today, get more of our entertainment recommendations, or watch us interview big celebrities, just say what to watch into your voice remote, or tune in here every Monday at 4 p.m. Eastern for a new episode, or check us out across the country 24/7 on the Xfinity What to Watch channel on Zumo. My name is David. Thank you for joining us on What to Watch Live.